Welcome to Out of the Blue, number 568.05. I want to connect the bomb I dropped in 568, which is We Talk to the Dead. I want to connect that with something I used to talk about, which is Houdini and his debunking of the spiritualists. Harry Houdini the magician did a thorough job of debunking the spiritualists. And it wasn't for a professional magician, it wasn't all that hard because a lot of the spiritualists were pulling scams and doing magic tricks essentially and pretending that they were real. Like, well, that's all history now. But Houdini was searching for a way to contact his mother who had died. And he went to these spiritualists and these seances, and they claimed this and they claimed that, and he debunked them all. He exposed them as scam artists. But I am proposing that there is an answer to his question. How could he? It's a two-sided coin. First of all, how could he actually, in a somewhat satisfying manner, at least more satisfying than being scammed by a spiritualist, how could he continue his relationship with his mother? And the other side of that coin, the flip side of that, is how is it that the spiritualists can be so successful at it, right? And this is the two sides of the same coin. The one side is, how could Houdini satisfactorily contact his mother, convincingly in a satisfying manner? That's one side of the coin. The other side is, how is it that the spiritualists are can so easily dupe people? Like even Houdini himself went along with him for a while. Because it's two sides of the same coin, because the answer is the same. And the answer is that, I'm not even going to say the answer. I want to backtrack, because this whole Neo-Swedenborgianism thing being essentially a rational observation, I am not laying down some kind of law like this is the answer. This is an answer. This is an idea that I came up with at college in a comparative religion program. And I'm floating it, and I'm trying to get people to think about it with me. But the answer is that it's all in his head. That's why. So I would say that this all started during talking about near-death experiences. And one person says, well, it's all in their head. It's a process of their mind. And in response to that, I thought, well, it is all in his head. To me, personally, since I had been reading Swedenborg, who writes about how, what's his word? How real it is. His word is self-evident. It's self-evident. He gets to this other place. He doesn't spend a lot of time explaining it because he says when you get there, it's self-evident, right? And so someplace that's so real, so convincing, and you also read in these near-death experiences, these people come back and they're like, it was realer than real. It was more real than this. It makes this look like a shadow dream world, and that's the real world, etc., etc., right? So when this person said, well, it's all in their head, the it, to me, included this hyper-reality, this thing that is perceived as a greater reality. Okay? So that is in your head, i.e. part of your psyche, i.e. a physiological phenomenon of the human body. So, Houdini wants to talk to his mother, and all these spiritualists scam him and produce ectoplasm up his sleeve. That's what what's his name? J. Hewitt Mackenzie I talk about. J. Hewitt Mackenzie was caught with ectoplasm up his sleeve. J. Hewitt Mackenzie is one of them, one of the people exposed when spiritualism was exposed. So these people on one side, some of them are pulling outright scams. But anyway, but on the other side, they're also describing a similar world. There's this real similarity to all these descriptions, which I attribute to the fact that they all trace it back to reading Swedenborg. So all these spiritualists of the late 1800s grew up reading Swedenborg. That's why I call this Neo-Swedenborgianism, because it all traces right back to his books that he published in the 1700s. So Houdini comes to a spiritualist, comes to a Neo-Swedenborgian, comes to me, right? Houdini, by the way, who was friends with my great-grandfather. My great-grandfather was Al Baker, the magician, and the dean of the Society of the dean of the SAM, and Houdini was like the president of the SAM or something like that. But anyway, what's Houdini to do? All these spiritualists scam him and do little magic tricks and pretend they're real, and he's at his wit's end. Well, as I said in a previous episode, this idea that your deceased loved ones live in your heart can be examined much more closely, and you can get kind of poetic about it. So here's the thing, they live in your heart, it's kind of poetic. You can visit your mother in your heart, and that's basically, let me just skip ahead to what I'm getting at. You want to have a satisfying contact with this loved one, and the way to do it is to communicate emotionally, not verbally. Right? So Houdini misses his mother terribly, and he just wants to kind of sit with her one final time. But then once you figure out that you can do it any time, it doesn't have to be a final time. But at the time, he just wants to sit with her one final time. We don't need a spiritualist, because the spiritualist is actually tricking you. The trick that they pull, the magic trick, the other side of the coin is that they trick you. They get you to contact your mother in your head, but they trick you into thinking it's something that they did. Right? That's the trick. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let's just end it there. Thanks. See ya.